A few months ago, I had a visit from two females. One was Gemma Arterton and the other Alice Sawfield. Hang on a minute, just remembered it wasn't those two females, but a locum psychiatrist and a psychiatric nurse. If you aren't aware, I am the principal carer for my brother, and we are joint tenants in the torture chamber of 11 Dayak Court. As part of my targeting, the police have been making use of psychiatric reprisals ever since I made a visit to Peckham Police Station way back in, I think, 2016 to ask them to investigate why tenants and strangers away from the block were directing a repeated pattern of abusive words towards me. Those words include weirdo, loser, wanker and pedo. Instead of investigating and visiting the tenants here in Dayak Court, which would have been the perfect place to start, they began using mental health referrals. The idea being, if my mental state can be called into question, I would have little to no chance of proving any targeting. This ploy has been successful, and they have even managed to dismiss credible evidence of my being a pariah. There was a very good reason for the visit by the psychiatrist and psychiatric nurse, and I wouldn't have tried to argue against it. I had placed and posted flyers some weeks or perhaps a few months prior to their visit. Over the years, I've used flyers, posters and other means to elicit information about what has caused my prior status. These attempts were a failure. No one contacted me. Frustrated, I designed a controversial flyer which read as though I would commit murder unless someone contacted me, and I also put some of the blame onto the reader if I carried out that murder because it could have been prevented had someone got in touch. I had uploaded a video to YouTube which I kept private, explaining that flyer, and my get out clause was that I hadn't specified what I would potentially murder. It could have been a fly, mouse, cockroach or a curry, but I wanted the viewer of that flyer believe I intended to murder a person and that they would bear some responsibility if I did. The mental health duo's visit was no doubt to assess my mental state and see whether I was sectionable. Hearing my explanation and seeing my demeanour, the upshot of that visit was asking me not to post any more threatening flyers, and I have kept that promise. On their way out of the flat, I did say to the psychiatrist if she needed any ideas for future directing efforts, gang stalking might be worth considering. And they laughed as the psychiatrist realised I had done an online search of her name prior to that visit. Last week I received another email from Mental Health with the intention of visiting me again. No psychiatrist this time, but Rachel, the CPN who visited the last time with Dr. Vaida, wanted to see me. Does she have a secret crush? Is the combination of my being an omega male, a personality bypass, and foul body odour too powerful a concoction to resist? Well, no. Here is her email. Today, the 26th of September, Rachel and my brother's psychiatric nurse kept the appointment, which lasted for approximately 30 minutes. Rachel wanted to know whether I did or didn't monkey around on the scaffolding surrounding Dayak Court. My answer was noted and written down. My brother's psychiatric nurse only got to speak to him at the end of the visit because he stayed near his bed throughout. I recorded the whole chat, but have edited the recording to the parts which are important to me. Rachel seemed reluctant to want to talk about my evidence, which just frustrated me for obvious reasons. You didn't mention my videos.
No, because I want to fix this situation and discuss the situation with the scaffolding. I'm not ignoring that. Do you mind if we just talk about this first?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to agree about the way difficulties are conceptualised. You feel very strongly you don't have delusional disorder. You've explained that very articulately. So I'm not going to wind you up or waste time by going around in circles. There's no point. Because at the moment we're here for a very specific issue.
No, yeah, we've dealt with that, and I've promised I will not do any climbing,
and
I will not do any more flyers. Why aren't you answering me about mine? This is very important for me.
Particular conversation, because I don't want to wind you up. I just
well,
want
you're only winding up because it does seem like evasiveness to me. You know, I've asked you, I don't mind if you specify in that report that you've listened to the recordings or tried to listen to them, and as far as you're concerned, it's ambiguous or they don't show strong enough evidence. That's all I need to report, but I would like a report on them.
I can listen to them, and I can send you an email with a kind of statement of my thoughts on that.
That'd be fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
I really appreciate that. Yeah.
That's okay. So I'm just writing down as a plan.
So none of my links worked, and she won't allow me to offer alternative ways to have her watch my videos. She says she watched some recordings in May, and my comments of people passing by are indistinct and open to interpretation. Nothing mentioned about the recordings from day at court, and particularly the tenant and her children in the flat opposite flat 10. Rather than allow me to ask whether she has watched those videos, she ends the communication process, referring me back to the GP. The result is I'm still getting fucked over from all quarters. Will the system win? We'll see.